All right,
Officially
here
55
we are.
decades. All right. As we are to do, I do like reading the intro paragraph that CIG has written when we do read from any article that CIG has posted. So for the Roadmap Roundup, we read the intro article, much like we do with the monthly reports. So it says, "Happy Wednesday, everyone. Every 2 weeks, we accompany the Roadmap update with a brief explanatory note to give insight into the decision-making that led to any changes. This is part of an effort to make our communications more transparent, more specific, and more insightful to all of you who help make Star Citizen and Squadron 42 possible. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this week's Roadmap Roundup of the CIG community team, which they have openings for. The community team actually is looking for a two bilingual people. One is English Chinese, and one is English French. Yes, French. Yes. So if you have those skills that can speak Chinese and English, or French and English, they want your number. I'm learning Japanese, so I can't help at all. I wonder what I should look into the Japanese Star Citizen community. There's gotta be one. I should get over there. All right. Notable changes for November 23rd, 2022. Year's almost over. I'm so happy. I've never been so happy to see a year go. I don't know why I've just started to disdain this year. I'm just done. I'm so done. Anyway, release view. The following cards have been added to the release view. I don't know how much you want to go back and forth. You want me to just read through the whole thing? It's pretty short. It is pretty short. Basically,
this roadmap is pretty brief, and then the Shinytracker didn't have much, just because we are past the whole meetings and
yep. We're past the meetings and before an update, so nothing's happening.
Yep. Nothing on the progress tracker end for the most part. Other than a few things here and there.
Right. Everything that has been worked on is being worked on. That's what we're at. Anyway, 3. The Drake Cutter. Building, implementing, and balancing the Drake interplanetary starter ship, the Cutter, as a game-ready vehicle. This is a straight flyable ship that we got at IE. Also, the Anvil C8R, which confused the heck out of me when I saw the name. Just because C8X, so I didn't understand how they were doing the thing. Anyway. The Pisces. Building, implementing, and balancing Anvil Aerospace's Ambient. I can't. Anyway. The C8R Pisces as an in-game ready vehicle. I can't even sentence. Anyway. So those 2 things were added to progress tracker that are already done. Done. Get it out of here. Alright, the following cards have passed their final review, so this is stuff that already was on there, is now blue. We are changing their status to committed, aka Twitter blue. I mean blue. So salvage hull scraping, or hull stripping, same difference. The first implementation of salvage into the persistent universe, which includes both hull stripping as well as repair. This will include both performing hull stripping and repair by hand, as well as hull stripping using systems aboard the Drake Vulture and Aegis Reclaimer. With that, the addition of the next one, the Grey Cat Multi-Tool Salvage Attachment. Creating the Multi-Tool Salvage Attachment includes includes asset creation, animation, and balancing. So those 2 things were committed. So salvage is, for all intents and purposes, done. The first one is completely done. We will not see salvage tier 0 or salvage tier 1 or 2 on the progress tracker, because they have said they are not doing that tiering system anymore. We will see features. So we have hole munching. That is part of what would have been called salvage tier 1. So we would have gotten salvage tier 0 with 318. That was changed to hull stripping. So instead of having tiers, we'll have features that are generally the biggest thing in that. And then supporting development will go on into some package that will then be handed as if it were a tiered system. But they're no longer doing named tiers. So in case anyone's worried about tier or the whole salvage gameplay not being worked on after stripping, they are working on it. It's just not called tier 1 or 2.
Yeah, just too difficult to track. Hole munching is already on the progress tracker.
Yeah, and already started working on it. Being worked on? Yeah. Cool. Salvage. Salvage tool, multi-tool, salvage, yes. Yeah, salvage 2.0 technically ended beginning of November. And then we also got Okay, so that was called. So hull stripping was tier 0. They did not put on salvage hull stripping. That was just tier 0 inside. So on the release view, we saw it change to hull stripping. But going forward, we have salvage vehicle munching, which is gonna be so nice. I can't wait to see something be eaten, and I really hope it's not me. All right, so I guess we move on to. So you want to take the changes on the shiny tracker? Since I kind of did the entire.
Get it, pull it back up, and oh nope, wrong thing. There we go. All right.
At least the emotes work. Why is there a green dot there though?
Dot where?
In the crayon box.
At the top crayon box.
Right.
I will have to look at that. I downloaded that off the internet, so I think that says something. I just don't know what it is. But I resized it to make it fit in. He's small.
He's small, yes. There's a little smudge on the top of it.
Let's see. There we go.
I mean, you should do some more medical stuff. You need like med pen or something.
Yeah, I do. Oh, that's a good idea. Look at you with the good ideas and stuff.
I have been accused of such things.
What are you thinking with your good ideas and making sense and?
Yeah. Man, I was so close to actually having a video done today, until OBS decided it wasn't going to record half the work I did.
Sorry, I'm just resizing things on my other monitor. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
I'll just keep them.
Okay, so the Shiny Tracker progress or Delta report. Not a whole lot.
Whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah, what are the names? So the way and apparently this is just the way it reads on the back end now. But whenever they in order to prevent people from data mining information from the progress tracker publishes. And seeing things that are unannounced that they're not supposed to see, they literally label them as unannounced. There's no background naming information, and then when they make it announced, they literally remove the old one, and then replace it with the new one that's named. So they remove the 2 unannounced vehicles that were in production, and put them back up there. All the same information, just adding the name and the description for the Anvil C8R Pisces and the Drake Cutter, which I got both of because I love them.
I tried the Cutter out, but I have a Nomad, and I've been daily driving the Nomad, and the difference.
It's only for my 0 to hero ship. It's only for my 0 to hero account.
It's a great one. Just I would jump straight from that to a Nomad, and then from Nomad to a MSR, from an MSR into whatever Carrack size ship there is. Like, if the Galaxy is out, or the Odyssey is out, or the Carrack's out, one of those ships will be after MSR. But like the only thing the only thing I didn't like about the Cutter is the amount of better steering on the Nomad. The Nomad has way faster rotation.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. It does. It makes sense looking at it. It makes sense driving it. It totally makes sense. And I love the little Cutter. I love him so much. He's a little bumblebee.
I love the interior. It's so very functional. It has a lot of great greebling. The ship has a lot of visual character.
Mm-hmm. The Corsair I was much less impressed with.
The only gripe I had, and I'm just repeating what I said on Captain's Table. Oh, I was on Captain's Table last Saturday. Unfortunately, Nazeris had to work, and he couldn't join me, but I was on with Astral Gemini and Paul. We wore Hawaiian shirts. It was fun. But so if you haven't watched the Captain's Table from last Saturday, it is up on Paul's YouTube, the Astropub YouTube, both parts. So that was a ton of fun. But so you go into the living quarters of the Cutter, and then you take a left to go into the little alcove to then take a right into the door to the bathroom. Why not just rotate the bathroom so it faces the living quarters, and that way you just turn left into the door, and then you could have put armor storage in that little alcove, and you could then that ship could have had suit storage, and it would be that would make it the perfect starter. You know, and it's like it's weak in combat. Not very agile.
I mean, that does give
all the it would have all the functionality.
Yeah, that does give someone like someone who doesn't have a starter or doesn't have very big starters room like that. I think Origin could do something like that, even though they have like all the starters. Aegis could do that. A new RSI starter could do that. Yeah, I think it gives the cutter some something wrong with it. I think if they made it too good, kind of like the Carrack now. Like, if you have 5 people, there's nothing else to use unless you want to go to the 890. If you don't want a gun platform, you do the Carrack. Like, there's nothing else worth it at the moment. So it's kind of the best ship right now for starters.
Yep.
Not kind of. It is the best starter. It just is.
The actual starter, not the like next year starter. The in comparison to the Mustang and the Aurora. Mustang.
They released the Galaxy
Cutter,
or
100i.
The 100i is like it's barely a starter.
Yeah, it's barely above snub, and that's the thing is it's not a level playing field. It's got waves.
Yeah, like it goes like 100i Aurora. I think, I'd put the Mustang like as far as capability because the Mustang actually has an interior, and then Cutter.
The beta, right?
Yeah,
I
but
always get the names
the Cutter has everything the previous stack has. It has cargo. It had like cargo enough to fit a small vehicle. It has a whole room of living space. It has VTOL. It just has so much. So it's a really good ship. Yep. Like, I will imagine like this being one of the most popular ships in the verse. Like they say, there's like all wreck yards are full of Auroras because they're like the most popular ship because they're so cheap. I think this is going to challenge that, even though this is a newer model. I think that will challenge the Aurora easily because it's Drake, so it's not going to be more expensive, much more expensive than Aurora. I'm talking about in lore, so yeah, that's going to definitely challenge the Aurora.
Yep.
I hope RSI responds with a Aurora Plus.
And there was nothing else of note in the Delta report. All there was just adding more work to the chapters for Squadron 42. And I didn't
not get more work.
Well, so chapter 1, not 2 and 3, not 6.
Okay, hold on. Let me follow you on deliverables. Okay. So you said what one got updated?
We'll go for the ones that didn't. Chapter 2 and 3. Chapter 6.
Okay. 3 finishes up work at the end of the month.
Yeah. I mean, they could get more work added. That's the thing.
A little while later. I'm just saying the current bars. The current bars end in November.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking that they're just basically, everything is continuing to get work. There's a handful that are on a little bit different cadence because of what they are, depending, or what teams, or they are not working on them because they have prerequisite things, required elsewhere. But
they could definitely come back, end of next year and say, oh, we need to touch up this. And the bar just kind of jumps all the way from where it's been over to the new spot. Yep. And it will look like post that as if they've been working on it the whole time. This is why the feature in Shinytracker where you can click on the things, not in the Delta report, but in the other one, scheduled deliverables. Yeah, in scheduled deliverables, and you can click on the things. They will tell you, hey, they're not actually working. They're intermittently working. So, but when they do work on them, it's full time.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna close these two, and then, unless you have anything else to add, that's it for the Roadmap Roundup and the Shiny Tracker Delta report. We are still trying to work with Shiny Hobo's schedule to get him on the show. Yeah, and ours. Yeah. So far, it's going to happen eventually. It just hasn't happened yet. So stay tuned. We will keep you updated of when we're going to get the architect of the Delta report up there.
15 and I'm going to go ahead to work on a chapter.
Yeah, a lot of work. Some of them, yeah, that's the thing is like it's so the Squadron 42 chapter work is so nebulous because it doesn't necessarily correlate. It often doesn't correlate at all with what's written in the monthly reports.
Right. Like it because it's not. There's no features mentioned. There's no projects mentioned. They've distilled it down. Like we see some features, but they've distilled the entire game down into their 28 chapters to where you can't make heads or tails of what they're actually working on unless it's a called out feature.
Yep.
So it's one, good on them for like finding a good balance on that one. But but anyway, I think the 15 teams are every team that would need to work on a chapter. So chapter 1 being the first chapter, one of the things they want in their new vertical slice. I think 15 teams would be that like every team has done their work on it. And I'm only seeing one other that's only at 14, and that's chapter 12. And that work goes to December so far. But that's gonna get way longer when we get to the reschedule in January.
Mm-hmm. Well, on each one of these, like for the most part, most of these are done in 1 quarter increments.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they have stuff from teams that are, occasionally they have stuff that is upstream and would go out longer. They usually only update the entire chapters in 1 quarter at a time. Yeah.
It's like seeing so many bars. Makes me happy.